great. It's just like the Revenge of the Sith intro. It's awesome until someone opens their freaking mouth. As soon as he says Cam, they said a vast in Star Wars, man. Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina Podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Lomanale, and remember, no droids allowed. And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cantina here on the GenreVerse, YouTube channel and GenreVerse Podcast Network on all of your favorite podcast apps: Google, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, and Amazon even these days. So yeah, check us out. YouTube Music is supposedly doing something new with podcasts as well, and I made podcast playlists per YouTube's suggestion, so that's a thing too. Anyways, I'm Kyle, that's Cam. Shockey not joining us today, and it's technically the Cantina Reviews, the original version and purpose of the Cantina, which was to gruelingly go through with a fine-tooth comb the entire Star Wars movie library, live action that is, leading up to the release of episode 9, and then we just like doing this Star Wars thing so much we kept it going. So but we're here today for the Mandalorian season 3 episode 1, and spoiler free at first. You know what, Cam, you go, because I got an idea for the thumbnail, and I think people might need to hear your take first. But what'd you think of it?
I mean, it was okay. There's nothing much happens. That's the thing. There's nothing much happens. We kind of end, without getting into any spoilers, episode 1 really in almost exactly the same place that we started. However, there was some fun moments that happened within that I enjoyed. There was nothing I particularly disliked about the episode. It just kind of felt like a bit of a setup for everybody maybe that hasn't been following along, just to kind of what's supposed to be happening, especially if you've not seen Mando 2.5 within Boba Fett. That's what it felt like to me. It would have been far better for this series to start with Boba Fett episode 5 and episode 6, for that to be the start of season 3. For me, it would have been far more, wow, what a great opening, than shoving it into Boba Fett. There's where I am.
Well, I was using the trailer screen to show a poster of the Mandalorian, but there's a lot of dead space, so I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'll make a review screen for OBS. Anyways, spoiler free from me. I liked everything in the beginning, all the way up through the start of Navarro until the pirates. As soon as that scene came up, it got very, very cartoony. And then there was some moments of good, and then we got really cartoony again. And then we went to kind of par for course some Mandalorian fetch questing story elements. It was shockingly cartoony at times, and I really, really did not like that. So I'm disappointed right out the gate.
Okay. I'm interested once we get into the spoiler talk to find out exactly which bits you meant, because nothing jumped out as being that bad to me, I must say.
So what would you grade this episode 1, Cam?
Like a B-. B-. I mean, I didn't dislike anything. Nothing really happened, but I had no real major complaints either. So just
I give it a
by
C.
Average. A C. All right.
I give it a C, and it's because of because I'm actually being fair. If I really, really wanted to grade this solely based on everything that came before Mando only, just Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2, I'd probably give this like a D+. The reason why it's getting a C is I'm giving it that I'm trying that Janet thing where I approach it from the what it is, and I had mentioned my fears that this might go kind of cartoony. I was like, hey, they're bringing in more Rebels and Clone Wars stuff from for like other projects, Ahsoka being one of them. We've seen some of that here in Mandalorian, and I mentioned fear about how this could kind of go the same route as a Book of Boba Fett or Obi-Wan Kenobi for that matter, and it seems to have kind of done that a bit. So scary. I guess we can just kind of get into the spoilers aspect of it then.
Done it. If that's all you want to see and you haven't watched it yet, go watch it, come back.
Yep, pretty much. So I'll go ahead and start with the whole cartoony. The first thing that really kind of stuck out was the pirate scene. One, they're stereotypical pirates. They're Pirates of the Caribbean pirates. They are wearing the long
on the ship. Or
no.
Just when they showed
both.
up.
We'll get there. We'll get to the ship, but right now we're still on Navarro.
Okay.
And from the clothing being just space versions, the long coats, the satchels, the holsters, the whole nine. It's not a Han Solo space pirate. These are stereotypical Disney space pirates. If you've seen the Futurama episode where the pirates attack and Bender ends up going and meeting God, they are that. They even later on in the spaceship stuff straight up say Avast, like holy shit. The mannerisms, the clothing, dude's carrying a sword. The pistols are shaped like old flintlock pistols, even though they're blasters. It was just such a very, very take you back to Earth type freaking moment. I hated the dialogue and all of that. The standoff was cool. You could change just a few things, make them a little bit more Star Warsy pirate-ish, and change the dialogue. And I have no.
What was it about the dialogue that specifically?
The way they're talking, it's so cartoony, man. It
just kind of felt like me like he's trying to antagonize Greef, and Greef's trying to be diplomatic to begin
but they
with.
did it.
And then
they do it like a children's cartoon versus the Mandalorian. This was maybe it's. I mean, we just had Andor, so I don't know how I may be the only one seeing this, but we've gone from where the silliness kind of comes from. Sillier characters like the junkyard lady on Tatooine, but anytime Din is facing down people that he's about to kill, it's generally been tone wise a bit more live action and not as cartoony. This felt like you were watching an episode of Rebels or Clone Wars space pirates meeting a Mandalorian.
I'd be disappointed if I was you then, because my theory is that these guys are going to show up now as a regular threat. They're going to be antagonists that are going to chase Din about. And I think we're going to end up on that ship. There's going to be some confrontation between him and the pirate dude at some point. The one thing I definitely disliked about it was the Davy Jones.
Oh my God! Plant Davy space
pirate. Good.
Space plant pirate Davy Jones. Yes, that sounded. He moved.
I liked the look of all the other aliens. In terms of what I mean, it's not by the costumes, but the prosthetics of all the aliens.
That was all fine.
It was all cool.
That was fine.
But I didn't like Davy Jones.
It looked stupid, man. My God,
that was a bit too piratey for me.
It looked like I
should he be on the sea?
I know.
He's in space.
Well, I mean, they've
got
those.
I don't know. There's calamaris that go in space and stuff like that.
They got those space plants in
that design,
because they've got the space plant beings in the High Republic, and they haven't had that in live action that I'm aware of yet. This is our first kind of like at least up close space plant. I don't know if he's that species specifically, but I think that's kind of either a soft introduction to plant things. You know what I'm saying? Like sentient plants.
against them bringing that kind of stuff into
I'm
the
not
Star Wars
either.
universe.
It's just the way
But
it
just
actually
felt
looked.
If you were going to do it, I wouldn't have done it and introduced it as a pirate captain, because it was just a bit too on the nose. That and
Yes.
that I'll agree with you that they're
Oh my
trying
God.
to be Pirates of the Caribbean-ish with it.
And
I think there could definitely be a more. I think they just didn't quite get the design aesthetics. I didn't really have an issue with what they're doing. It's more the design aesthetic of it that I had an issue with. So I agree with that.
It can be a space plant, a sentient plant. I'm not against that. I'm not. It's just the way it looked. And then, of course, again, his dialogue, man, it's all so freaking cartoony.
Yeah.
And yes, Star Wars.
Cut off the pirate in a wee bit.
And Star Wars was campy when it hit in '77, but it wasn't childish camp. It was it was a higher level of science fiction than we had seen in a lot of science fiction when you think of like Buck Rogers and stuff like that. It wasn't that campy, but it still had elements because it was borrowing from other genres and films.
Although
that
it
were
also went quite against the time and being more fantasy-like, because at that time in cinema, sci-fi was definitely more serious and apocalyptic and things like that, and Star Wars kind of brought the fun back. But but it's getting the right tone. I agree with you on that.
Here, like I said, there's a difference between that camp that you feel in A New Hope versus this, which isn't even really campy. It's cartoony.
Yeah.
When the space dogfight happens, it's great. It's just like the Revenge of the Sith intro. It's awesome until someone opens their freaking mouth. As soon as he says Cam, they said a vast in Star Wars, man.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but it never annoyed me that much to take me out of it, because I thought it was quite a good space battle. I was quite enjoying the space battle, so the dialogue didn't annoy me. So I'm not quite as against it as you in terms of how sort of cartoony and childish maybe it feels, other than where I will accept.
You've been desensitized.
Maybe, I mean. But
your expectations have been lowered.
The criticism of yours that I will back up is having an issue with the design aesthetic of it and making them too piratey in terms of what we associate pirates with, as opposed to Star Wars pirates. So that I'll give you 100%. I just don't get it.
It's all right. Let's talk about the time passing. Navarro, IG-11 becoming exactly as the rumor had said, it seems, and he's going to be a mechanized suit.
Yeah, I mean, we've not said that that's where the story's going yet, but you can kind of see the jigsaw puzzle coming together, because he literally is a jigsaw puzzle that they're trying to piece together at the moment. There were some good scenes, right? So, I really liked the Terminator scene. I thought that was really good, where IG-11 kind of goes back to its original program and just tries to attack. The way they done it was almost very stop motion-y, so it actually took you a bit of a back seat, even though there's probably no real danger because you wear Beskar armor and he's got blasters and stuff like that. It did feel that these IG-11s are kind of scary there for a moment. I thought that was quite a well put together scene in terms of how it worked. And I guess that's one of the few things they did this episode, is set up, for whatever reason, he needs IG-11 back. So we're going to get that. And that's going to be part of his fetch quests that he does at some point. But the main storyline, if you like, of that he needs to go to Mandalore, as much as they've put it in there just to have the cool action scene, I think we could almost skip the whole opening part of this episode where he goes back to see the armorer again.
That was a nice little fake out.
Just for the people that hadn't seen 2.5, to me.
Yeah. But I liked the bit of the fake out where you think you're seeing his initiation in the past.
That's true.
I thought that was fun. I really did enjoy.
Yes, and let me revise that. I liked it, and I liked the way that happened as well. Where I get disappointed was that his reason for coming back was just to have the same conversation again that he has already had, and be told exactly the same information.
Do you think that's
so it felt like
do you think
build the
that's
story around an action set piece rather than having a real reason for it to be there.
Do you think that's a late addition when they were thinking, man, nobody watched Book of Boba Fett?
Well, they did say that they were going to do some sort of recaps, and there wasn't any actual real recap, was there, at the start?
No, it was just some good. It was just getting exposition out in a way that makes relative sense. You can poke at a few things. Yeah, you can poke at a few things for being thin writing. The fetch quests, even very coincidental. You're telling me that Din wouldn't trust Grief to have a droid reprogrammed for protect.
It just feels like an excuse to get Ideal up back because he's a fan favorite character. Yeah.
And you just buy it because there's plenty of other thin plot points in the original trilogy even. Yeah. But everything else around it is golden, so you buy it. Sometimes you can buy it. And that's the thing about entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, is sometimes you can buy it because you're like, well, we're in a world with freaking space wizards and laser swords.
And space whales
and space whales. And that is an EU thing as well. I don't remember what they were, but there were some beings that could traverse giant beings that
I seem to remember that, but I don't remember if they were the same or if there was any details about them. I just remember coming across it at some point, but it was like a reference in a book. But these are obviously were introduced in Rebels, as I'm sure you know.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't, right? So how Ezra and Thrawn disappeared, right? It was the Purgle that caused them to do that. So they fly through hyperspace. Basically, that's what they do. But they occasionally come up into normal space, and then and kind of Ezra, the ships basically can't move. He uses the Force to get them to almost pull the ship along with them, and they go off into hyperspace. So wherever they end up is wherever the Purgle's migration routes would have been, which nobody knows. So it's a kind of little tie into where they're going in Ahsoka and all that sort of stuff a little bit as well. Plus, I thought it was a pretty scene.
Yeah,
to kind of see that as well. It was well shot with just little Grogu looking out, and then I'm getting a little bit scared and go down and sit next to his dad.
And I like the stuff with Din and Grogu and them going out on the quest is what this has always. This is that's one of the things the show has always really been about. These quests, and it's fun because it allows you to explore little different things in individual episodes while leading up to a big task. And anyone that's ever played adventure games, RPG games, things like Zelda and stuff know exactly what this is. You need to get the bottle. In order to get the bottle, you got to go to the town, talk to the guy. And
Mando's always been built up like that. Exactly. Really, since season 1, it's been very much like that RPG. And I'm happy to see.
Yep, and I'm happy to see more of it, and hopefully to see more of the galaxy. They've done a really good job at making the galaxy feel really freaking tiny in Star Wars these days. But I've enjoyed most of the places we've visited in past Mandalorian episodes. Yeah, man, I don't know where it's going to end up at the end of the day. This season, I don't know how much is going to connect into the other series, but I'm after that first episode, I am not like I said, I'm disappointed, and I'm nervous because I mentioned how I was afraid that it might go this way, and right out the bat, episode 1, we have things that I was definitely concerned about. I don't get it, man. We just came off of Andor, and that was amazing, and I know
but I think it was the unusual rather than the usual. That's what you've got to remember. Mando was always more similar in tone to some of the other stuff we've seen.
Yeah, and but that's not what I'm saying. What
Except
I'm saying
Disney stuff,
why swing so hard to the Toon stuff? Like, And I don't mean just having cameos. That's not what I mean. The style, the aesthetic, like. And then why did they CGI the monkey lizards, man? Like, what the hell? The things in the tree from Return of the Jedi.
The Salacious Crumb.
Yeah. That guy.
I mean, they're not always CGI them these days. I think.
You do all
I've
that
seen them a couple
puppet
of times
work for Space Plant Davy Jones, but
because he's a they're just background, so to actually they would have to go.
They would have been
get
easy
all those
to do.
creatures, set them up in a tree.
Probably still have models from
so that they
the other
move.
stuff.
All that.
Do
Think
that
of the
much.
setup you need to do in that tree for just Mando walking past. When you can just give it
you
to
put the
CGI.
puppeteer in a
I'm
a blue
I
latex
disagree
suit.
with you on this one.
They
That
did
would
it
be really
before.
bad. That would be using two, maybe for one little thing, but for a group of them in a passing shot like that, that's a waste of resources in a show like that for me. Sorry. If you had an unlimited
don't
budget,
have them.
I accept
Don't
it.
have them.
If it's better, it's better. You're right. It would have been better. But
they used a puppet one in Book of Boba Fett, didn't they?
One.
Okay, do you not know how to composite?
Do
Do you not know how to composite? Do you not know how to composite a shot? So you've got that one, right?
I probably don't.
You took the blue. You
sure
take the dude. So you set up your camera. It's looking at the tree, right? And you've got your one puppeteer.
So
he's
you
wearing
just
a blue.
copy it and put it.
He does all 5 positions by himself, and then you just composite the images on top of each other.
I don't know. Maybe that it was just the logistics of it were too hard to do, or maybe you just shot it with nothing there, and then after they'd already shot it, they decided, do you know what? I'd like to see those guys there, and that's when they brought in the CGI. It wasn't that bad.
Now, number two. Put the guy in the blue latex suit. Put him in front of a blue screen and have him do the puppet work. And then composite that into the scene and put. It's a little thing.
You can just CGI it to me. If it was on screen a long time and you could see that CGI was terrible,
it's a little thing.
But
other than that,
let's get to the other part of what we haven't talked about, so like the Bo-Katan section. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So. We were kind of curious. They set it up in the trailer as part of a definite showdown between the two. And I mentioned last week on the regular Cantina, I was like, it could be just a ideological showdown, not that they'll necessarily come
we
to
did
blows.
Talk about the fact that it could be a character arc for Bo to come round and end up seeing Din as a leader and following him rather than getting all biscuit-assed about it, and stuff like that. But
that's an interesting. I don't think I've ever heard biscuit-assed.
Thing, but we would say arsed, but Americans can't say arsed, right? So biscuit-assed.
You guys can't say ass, right?
We can ass. There you go.
Just joking. Come on, keep going.
Anyway, you ass.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Dick.
So, I don't think what we saw, it was almost like it was just a tease for this is a bit of where this season's going. I don't think it told us anything other than what is Bo-Katan's current state. And I think her current state is she seems very much on her own. She's lost the followers that she previously had. And she seems a little bit bitter about that at the moment. And that's about all we can say, really, because we don't know how she's going to come back into it.
And
we know she does come back into it. We don't know how, So.
And she does not look like she's hell-bent on forcing a confrontation. She's not hell-bent on revenge.
Well,
like, how
I
dare
guess
you
she
take
could
it
do that
from me?
Right there and then. She could
she could.
Done something, yeah.
But it makes you wonder if she just feels like it would be dishonorable if she challenges him and he's like, I don't want to fight you. Here, take it. And she's not willing to do the, let me hit you one time and then I'll take. She seems really bound by her creed, the way he is, which
she
could set up a
stupid superstitions.
But she's still stuck on hers.
Yeah, exactly.
And he points that out.
Stuck on that stupid superstition herself, and he points that out. Yeah, absolutely right. And that ultimately could be the core possibly of what we're looking at, because I think we are going to explore these different Mandalorians that have different values attached to them. You know, like there's the what do they call themselves? The Children of the Watch, which is this break-off organisation that Mando's part of, that have got all these weird rules about not taking your helmet off, and yet someone who was an actual Mandalorian like Bo-Katan just thinks that's crazy, but they've got their own superstitions about the Darksaber and all that sort of stuff. So that definitely seems to be where the show's going, but it's hard to say from what we got so far because we just didn't really progress. I still feel like we've left the episode with Din is on a journey to try and get to Mandalore to bathe in the pools and cleanse himself, but we still have no idea how he's actually going to achieve this yet. That's it.
It's nice. I'm sure the story will end up seeing them go along the routes of showing how all the different sects, if you will, of Mandalorians each have a part of their home with them. But back on home, it was much more blended, much more of a melting pot versus a multicultural institution with defined lines. Well, I mean, and I can see them going.
If you were describing Earth
with
and you went down and looked at Earth and look at us as a planet, you know, in terms of the culturalism and differences and the problems that caused between people. I mean, why would that not happen on another massive planet that's a very old planet, Mandalore, so it's been around for ages. People have lived on it for probably millions of years. So,
and you don't even have to go that far back in human history to see. I mean, you could just go to yesterday between groups like the Sunnis and Shia. You can see it in Ireland still, you know, in the UK with Catholics and Protestant. Although it's a lot better than it used to be, but even that goes back hundreds of years.
Something that goes back hundreds of years. There's still an element that you know is in people's culture that they can't quite break away from. As someone that lives in Scotland, you know, we're very much subject to the same kind of things as Ireland on that as well. Not quite the same events that happened back in the Trouble era, because that didn't happen in Scotland. But you know, that cultural divide is very much a part of your culture.
Funny story. My family was Catholic. I should have been Catholic. My paternal great-grandfather, not a very good guy, brought over some not very good habits from Ireland when he got here. My paternal grandfather, my dad's dad, cut everything out. Like, that name was expunged from family. Like, he dropped Catholicism. Like, he cut every last tie to that guy. So here I am, a Protestant heathen, I guess. according to the Catholics.
I thought you were Catholic.
Nope. No,
that's weird. I don't know why.
Non-denominational Christian. That's what I am.
I'm an atheist, but I was brought up as the same Protestant, which is you know, one side of it in our country. But I married someone who was brought up, and she's also an atheist, but you know, she came from a Catholic background, and if we go back 50, so I just went back 50 years, let's say, right, in Scotland, we would have been shunned for that.
Oh yeah,
you know, that was not allowed. You know, famously, Manchester United manager Sir Alex Ferguson had to move from really Scotland to England to get away from that because he married a Catholic and he was a Rangers player, which is linked to the Protestant side, and then he couldn't be bothered with all that.
Ridiculousness.
So, you know, it's craziness.
Anyway,
but the point is to kind of take it back to Star Wars again, that you know, rather than, like, it tends to be in Star Wars when we see a planet, what we see is one community that's all together. And I get that, you know, you should have some Star Trek type ideals as well. So Naboo is this great, you know, country, and they made friends with the Gungans. Coruscant's just like one big city, you know, so they don't really have a bit of everything. You know, but when we do get to see planets, sometimes we should see them with these disparate factions, if you like, and see their internal politics, because, you know, it doesn't always need to be galaxy-wide.
Yeah, I've said that a 1,000 times. We can see stories, long form stories over a trilogy of movies that doesn't necessarily have to put
revolve around
whole
one
galaxy.
planet and its system.
Yeah,
I mean,
So,
absolutely.
anyways, I think that's good for episode 1, man. Any other thoughts on it?
Nah, I mean, I kind of need to see next week to see where we really go. And once we start getting into the meat a little bit, and then see if your disappointments keep ramping up or tail off a little bit.
I hope not.
I think we will see
really
those pirates again, so there is going to be some points coming. There's no way they've designed them,
you
set them
don't
up,
introduce
and they're not
that.
coming back.
You don't introduce Davy Broccoli. That's what I'm going to start calling him. You don't introduce Davy Broccoli without plans to reuse them. So
yeah,
I guess this is the punishment for not eating our vegetables as kids, huh, guys? Yep. Anyways, if you like this show, you might like other shows here on the GenreVerse Podcast Network and YouTube channel. If you're into anime, guess what? We got a shit ton of that. We are also covering Marvel stuff on Marvel Multiverse Mayhem. Look for Secret Invasion reviews whenever that actually hits. And then, of course, Daily Cog, Breaking Geek Radio, cover everything you can imagine in entertainment this week. Breaking Geek will be reviewing Creed 3. Check out their review from last week on Cocaine Bear. If it's not a reaction video or like AVR Squared or Genre Shot trailer reactions, it goes up on all your favorite podcast apps. Look up the GenreVerse, hit follow, leave some thumbs up, down, reviews if you can, help with the interaction. Check out lrmonline.com every day for all written news, needs, opinions, celebrity interviews that come from the LRM Online YouTube channel as well. And hey, if you want to write for the website, drop us a line, shoot a DM on Twitter. Emails are in the description. Kyle M at lrmonline.com. Cam, is it Cam Clark? I don't remember because you're in my address book.
What, my email address?
Yeah, do you remember? I think it's just Cam at lrmonline.com. It'll be in the description box, or just shoot us a message on Twitter if you're interested.
Cam at lrmonline.com.
There you go. All right.
There you go.
So yeah, guys, check all of that out. Cam, any other final words?
No.
Alrighty, well, I guess may the force be with you, and this is the way? I don't know. We'll just stick with may the force be with you.